Okay, that was as I think one of the videos said, an epic fail. It was, I thought it'd be fun, but man, it was a little too ridiculous for the topic. Man, I mean, it's really hard to talk about like serious emotional things, and I'm all for having some moments of not being serious and emotional. But when you have a giant pizza on your head or like a donut or whatever they were doing to me there, that was too much. So again, thank you guys for tuning back in. Let's do a quick speed round of the rest of today's office hours, and we're going to talk about some things that you guys are bringing up. So again, you guys, thanks for logging back on. One of the things that was thrown out there was mindful eating, and I'm just going to give you, again, well, let's do a power round. So throw out some questions, some topics that you want us to talk about right now, and we will be sure to go ahead and talk about those things. So mindful eating, first of all, what is it and why is it important? Mindful eating is this practice of listening to your body and being in tune and being in the moment when you're eating. And why is that important? It's important in psychology. It's important for nutrition and dietitians, because what often happens is that for so many of us, especially those that have struggled with binge eating or emotional eating, we tend to actually use food as a tool of disassociation. So think about that for a minute. How often is your eating time spent around being on your phone, watching television, listening to the radio? No one does that anymore, but imagine you did. Reading the newspaper, no one really does that anymore, but imagine if you did. Imagine a time when people did. How much of your time is spent actually just sitting with no distractions and eating? It's pretty rare, unless you're intentional about that. And if you are, you're practicing the intentional practice of mindful eating. So again, I think that's what mindful eating is. It's listening to your body. It's getting back in touch with your hunger cues. You know, so many people that I work with in my practice around food related ways of coping, they're totally disconnected from their body. When I say they, I include myself in that. I'm still getting in touch with my body. I'm still being able to finally interpret what a hunger cue actually is versus a cue of being thirsty or a cue of just being tired. Mindful eating is getting back in touch with hunger cues, getting back in touch with your body, listening to your body when you're eating. It's eating slower. It's eating with less distractions. It's absolutely a fundamental practice of that. I don't care what diet you're practicing or what way of eating. It's a fundamental practice that all of us could do better at practicing. And there's lots of good courses and materials out there. I don't offer a course in mindful eating specifically, but there's others that do. And if you Google them or if you have direct questions about them, I'd love to answer that for you. But yeah, mindful eating is it's super important, and it's really central to anyone's journey. One thing I'll say too about mindful eating is that I've done more mindful eating when I became whole foods plant-based than I've done ever. And I think part of that is because now there's no limits and rules around what I can and can't eat. I'm always eating healthy food, and I could eat as much as I want till I'm full. But actually listening to my body has been really cool, because your body tells you when you're full. If you've had too many potatoes, your body will let you know. Whereas if you're eating processed food, sometimes, you know, that's part of what gets us out of the cues of understanding our body and whether or not we're hungry or we're eating for other things or even emotions. So anyway, that's mindful eating. It's really important. And I find that whole foods plant-based eating has allowed me to do that. The other thing it's allowed me to do too is to know that, like when I wake up, I think I told you this, my coach, Sharon McRae, had said that, you know, hey, if you're not hungry, don't eat. Why are you eating? And I think so many different programs that I'd been exposed to, eating programs, health programs, dietary programs, they would tell me you have to eat this often, or you have to eat the minute you wake up. Remember one guy telling me, I was actually a personal trainer I worked with, saying, before you even get up and go to the bathroom, you need to eat a protein bar. You know, I remember I used to be compliant with stuff like that. So I've really come a long way in where I'm at now. And mindful eating would say, listen to your body. Your body might change its rhythms, but listen to it in certain states. And I think it's really powerful. Here we go. Just wanted to say, you'd mentioned if you're not eating, don't. It really works. If not hungry, yes. So yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about here. And Maria said, you end up getting obsessed. And I think what you're referencing there, tell me if I'm catching it right, is that it can be obsessing. You can obsess over whether or not you're eating enough, or should I be eating every 3 hours? Like I used to have an alarm set on my clock on my phone that would go off every 3 hours because I had to eat. And so there was no mindfulness in that, like at all for me. I was not listening to my body at all. It was a predisposed schedule, and I don't believe in that anymore now. Have you read any of Dr. Furman's books? He discusses mindful eating and only eating when hungry. I have not. I have, I believe, read some of his books. One of the things I'll say, I've said this before, self-admittedly, maybe this is why I do video format. I used to write, but I don't write as much anymore because for me, it's so much easier for me to watch a video that someone does. I just consume it. I take it in, it sticks with me, I can regurgitate the information. For some reason, when I read, I think the problem is I'm like too much of a perfectionist with reading. I like sit there and I want to highlight a lot, and I read really slowly because I want to take it all in. So to this day, like I've watched so much more videos and documentaries that I've retained than I have with books. I don't know why that is, but that's just what kind of works for me. So I need to probably go listen to Dr. Furman and a talk that he gave where he talks about mindful eating. But I know that for me, Dr. Furman is someone that my coach really is tuned into and tuned into a lot of the books that he's written. So I imagine that's probably where some of that has leaked over to me. So yeah, this information really helps me. I've had so many people tell me I need to eat breakfast. So that's what I did. Yeah, Maureen, I think, and this is the tough part. I think, again, I don't have the nutritional certificates behind me. The ones you see on the wall are not anything to do with nutrition. So part of what I'm doing is I'm drawing upon my own journey that I'm telling you about. But I am speaking, the degrees I have on the wall are related to psychology, and they're related to the emotional side of things. So just one of the things I could tell you is that what I believe now is that we get in trouble if we're not in tune with our bodies. I believe that emotionally, I believe that physiologically. So we get in trouble when we're not in tune with our bodies. And something about this idea that we're just going to eat, or we think that's what our metabolism requires, I'm no longer on board with that. So yeah, I think it's more important to really go with what you feel. And again, by all means, trust the sources who do study the nutrition and stuff. I know I'm not the only person who believes in that, but there are experts that do too. So that's one thing to mention there. What other topics do you guys have? We have about another 5 minutes here left on office hours. Thank you for tuning in. Some of you were with us on the first broadcast, which may get deleted later because it was a little ridiculous, but I don't even know if there's any good content in it, but there was lots of good hats. There's a pizza on my head, and none of you know what that means unless you were listening to the first broadcast. Facebook's trying to throw out these extra filters out there, and I tried them out, and I don't think it worked out too well. Probably won't do it again, but it was fun. Everyone's different. I'm too hungry if I skip it. Yeah, then I would say, Richard, you're listening to your body. I mean, that's the thing is, there was a time where I really believed that I needed to eat every 3 hours. And maybe I had trained my body to do that. I don't know. But if you're hungry, if it's legit hunger every 3 hours, then honor that. If it's legit, then honor that. One of the things I would say that we need to make sure we do is run through the list though of like other rule outs. Like, is it just exhaustion? Is it just is this an emotional reason that I'm eating? Is it that I'm thirsty? And those are all things that if we stop and check in with ourselves and then we make the decision to eat, often we can do a lot of rule outs that help save us some of those things. So yeah. So anyway, give me another few minutes here, and before we do, I'll just give you some announcements. If you are in the Rewriting My Story program, if you have access to the program right now, if you're keeping up your membership, if you have that, we're going to be doing something really cool. We're going to be dropping in new video lessons, and we're going to drop in, I believe, 9 of them. And those video lessons are directly central to what we talked about this last few weeks, which is I looked at what's the core foundation of beliefs that we really want to push and encourage people in the direction of with rewriting their story. And so we knew that that message is grounded in this belief that you are worthy, regardless of where you're at on the scale or regardless of where you're at in your journey, just because you're worthy because you are. And we talk about a lot the negative aspects of entitlement. This is a positive aspect of entitlement. There's actually a saying that we believe that you're worthy of love, that you're worthy the way you are right now. You're worthy of self-acceptance and giving yourself that self-acceptance and that love just because you are worthy, and that we all are. And we believe that that's a fundamental piece to rewriting your story, because if you get that now, at the beginning of your journey or midway through your journey or even at the end of your journey, that if you get that now, then you won't be expecting to get it when you lose a certain number on a scale or when you step into a certain dress size or pant size. And that some of that system is really rigged in a negative way. You know, we call it a carnival game. It's rigged against you, that if you think that you're just gonna lose weight and feel great about yourself, that's a lie. So the part of Rewriting My Story program that we're trying to add now to it, we already have video lessons, over 35, on how to rewrite your story, how to renegotiate your relationship with food. We're now adding some more core beliefs, some core affirmations. And so those affirmation video lessons were shot when I was on the East Coast. They were shot primarily in Boston and also a little bit in Baltimore. In DC area. But anyway, yeah, I'm just excited for you guys to get a chance to see them. We've really been working hard on them. The production took a little bit longer than we thought, but ultimately they're pretty straightforward. These are just me kind of sitting down and breaking down these different affirmations, these topics about why it's so vital, why it is that some of us struggle with believing the opposite of it to be true. Or not believing we're worthy, not believing we're strong enough, not believing we're enough, and you know, the common pitfalls to that, and then why it's going to impact and change everything in your life to actually live out that belief and what it would look like to do that. So we give you action steps too. So if you are currently a member of the program, just log in and you're going to see in the next 24 hours that those video lessons will be uploaded in there. In fact, a little kind of spoiler to that is, if you, well, no, actually I was gonna say a spoiler of how to access the videos. No, you have to wait till we get them uploaded on the actual membership website. So no spoiler, you'll have to wait, but it'll be in the next 24 hours, and we'll make an announcement on the Dr. Mondo page with a little snapshot of some of the video previews and stuff. So go check that out. If you're not in the program now, that's part of just getting in the program, that's part of us constantly revamping it, trying to make it better, and offering you more and more content. So that will be in there as well. All right, guys, I'm gonna have to run. This is a little bit later, office hours, but I thank you guys so much for tuning in. Today's talk centered mostly around the mindful eating. Next week, we'll be back with more office hours, taking your questions, no silly hats or pizza for serious topics. So again, I can't wait for you guys to tune in. Maureen, just to say this, I've had the same negative feelings, whether I was thin or overweight. That to me is what this program is all about, rewriting your story, because the belief is that we base it on this condition of losing weight. The reality is that we'll never feel like we're truly worthy until we rewrite our stories and make that a priority now. And that's the power of the program. So I really hope you get a chance to experience that in the program. Hope you guys have a great